Welcome, everybody, to Reliving the Extreme, episode 105. I know my voice may sound a bit strange. That's right, because I'm not Nate Maxon. I am Archie Mitchell, filling in for Nate tonight on the show. Nate is dealing with some health issues with his mouth. He just had some dental surgery. So I'm here with my buddy Aaron Maxican.
But how did you put it that way? He's dealing with some
mouth issues.
yes, yeah.
I'm here
All
with
right.
Nate's brother Aaron, and I'm here with the ever so lovely Chad Austin, whose name is Dumb Archie tonight. So I guess we'll see if I fit into that criteria.
Yeah,
Guys,
no, this is going to be a doozy.
so guys, before we get into what we're going to be talking about tonight, which we'll be looking at ECW Hostile City Showdown 1995, all three of us would like to talk about a fallen wrestler, a fallen brother for Chad. Jay Briscoe passed away a couple days ago in a tragic car accident at the age of 39. His two daughters were involved in some very heavy duty operations at the hospital. And apparently, according to Jay's wife, they're both doing much better. Thank you, Jesus. Chad, give us your thoughts about everything that happened and your relationship with Jay and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't believe this is gonna be the platform that I would use to say what I really want to say.
I understand
about Jay, but I mean, dude, I've known Jay. I knew him since he was like 15, and like he missed his prom to work me and my partner.
Wow.
You know, at a show. And when they showed up, and the promoter was like, "Well, I don't know if they're going to show up because tonight's their prom and all." And my partner was like, "No, dude, it's them boys." And I mean, it's not Randy and Bill Malky. You know what I mean? These aren't bones. These
right.
aren't winning the Bone Award week. They're showing up, and after we worked and we did our shit, and then I'm not even going to speculate. Of course they won. They had to have won, and they did all their shit. And then the next time we saw each other, it was always like, "Hey man, remember that time when you and Dino?" And we were like, "No, we don't remember any of that." And they're going like, "Well, you put me on the top rope and you did it." I said, I don't think that was us. That had to have been you had to obviously had us confused with the Maximos.
Oh God!
Because you're talking about going to the top rope and doing a Spanish fly or whatever the hell it was on the top rope, and I'm like, dude, not us. No,
seeing Chad Austin do a Spanish fly might have been something.
no, it's seeing Chad Austin take a Spanish fly.
Right.
That's how it usually worked out. Because I'm not putting the guy up there on purpose. Because I mean, I'm not Spanish and I don't fly.
That's a good point.
So
It
it was kind of like and the cool thing was like he was somebody that I wasn't close to on a day-to-day basis per se.
Right.
But my wife even heard enough things that I've said about him in the past about like, oh my God, dude, if I could have told you about that time, where the Briscoes, or when he did this, and we had a whole indie war. We tore the building up, kind of thing. And she's like, no, she's like, you're right. I don't know who they are, but I've heard you talk about them, And
Yeah.
it must have been somebody that you really liked. And I was like, dude, me and Dino really like them motherfuckers.
I got to meet Jay at a indie event in Rahway, New Jersey, about I want to say 12 years ago, and it was him and his brother taking on Teddy Hart and Jack Evans in a tag match, which was fantastic. Absolutely, they went everywhere in that arena and had a great match. And then after the show, Teddy and Jack were supposed to do a meet and greet, and they dipped out early. They wanted to get back to the hotel and party. So we're sitting there waiting, and the promoter's like, "Yeah, Teddy and Jack left." And the Briscoes come over like, yeah, we'll sign anything. We'll take any pictures you guys want. We'll do it. You know what I mean? They were as cool as anything. They were friendly. Jay sat there and talked about, they're going to Japan. They're going to be here. They're going to be there. And after that, it stayed with me that I watched their career after that. I wanted to see everything those guys did. And watching them
Yeah,
go
they
Nirvana,
were gonna go to Japan. They were gonna go to Europe. They were gonna go to England.
And they did. They did. They killed it
And
everywhere they went.
But at the end of the day, what they ultimately did was drove down fucking Laurel, Delaware, and fucking fed them chickens.
Yep, definitely.
It's hilarious to me because that was kind of like a joke, like with me and my partner when they were like, "Oh, when we leave here, son, we're gonna go to the airport. We gotta go to Germany, and all this other stuff." And we were just like, "You ain't going anywhere." Like, there's a tractor outside, and we're in like we're in like Milford, Delaware or something. And me and my partner knew we're like 13 minutes from your house. You're not going to the Tokyo Dome. I don't know where you're really going. but with that big John Deere, I doubt very seriously they're gonna allow overnight parking at the terminal at the airport.
They might have had long-term parking. You don't know that for sure for a tractor. You don't know. It's an airport. They might do what they want.
Oh, I know for a fact they drove that tractor. They drove that tractor. They that Papa fucking guy drove that tractor, and he had two like little gym bags hanging off the side of it, and he had two little boys like they reached for the sky at like whatever 16 17 years old, whatever they were, like holding on to that tractor. We were riding down to that arena in little fucking piece of shit Delaware. And me and my partner, like I said, me and Dino, we couldn't have been any more excited. Like after the first couple times we worked together, we couldn't have been any more excited to get to a building and find out, hey, you work at Briscoes again. And it's like, oh well, it was going to be so and so and so and so, but we're fine, we're cool.
Hey,
we're down with the Briscoes, man. And they were like, whatever you want to do. And we were like, we've already had this match, already had this match.
Right. It became a little bit easier because you guys knew each other so well, right?
Yeah. It wasn't like we became like best friends or anything like that where we, I sent them Christmas cards and shit like that. It's just every time we saw each other, it was like, it was cuz or, bro kind of thing. And if we didn't even work each other, we saw each other. It was always like, what's up, cuz? What's up, bro? And I look at the one fucked up one and just be like, damn. That's the crazy one. I don't know which one's which.
Jay was the one with the spiky hair and the long beard, and Mark was the shaved head with the beard recently. But when they were younger, they were hard to tell apart. I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we were cool with the one that was the most responsible one.
I think that was Jay, from what I've heard.
Okay, you're probably right. I mean, back in the day, it was 20 some years ago, so the political correctness wasn't exactly
right
where it is today. But it used to be we were with the less retarded one.
Oh my God, Aaron, anything you'd like to add?
Just that the Briscoes were a great team, still are a great team. I shouldn't say were, but they were a great tag team, and I'm glad to hear that his kids. I mean, he had two kids that were involved in that accident, and I was worried about that. So I'm glad to hear they're doing good. I was a little pissed off, and I don't usually get mad when corporations or whatever like try to distance themselves from things, but I thought it was kind of shitty that TNT and whatever didn't want Tony Khan to pay tribute to him because some fucking tweets or whatever that he put out like 10 years ago. I thought that was kind of shitty, but
I
other
thought
than
so
that,
too.
Nobody's ever gonna recognize me when I die. I'm only gonna get recognized by KKK radio, and you know what I mean?
Oh god.
And like it's not even like that, but like they're gonna be the ones that'll pick up on the one tweet where I make a mention about Nelly.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna end up getting blocked. So yeah, it sucks, man. It sucks that you know how it works. But, it shit happens. And Nate, Aaron, we've been doing these shows so many times where we talked about people that and there's nobody you're not gonna have a skeleton in. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not a big deal. I mean, I'll already tell you all my fucking skeletons. Like, fuck. All right, I'm not running for public office, stupid. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I look at it like
midget.
this. I look at it like this, and I hate to get biblical, but it says, "Let he without sin cast the first stone." So if you're going to hold somebody responsible for something they said 10 years ago, point the finger at yourself and think about what you did 10 or 20 years ago. For TNT to say you can't do a tribute is bullshit.
Yeah.
And Chad, I promise you, I want that story, just not on this show. Maybe the next show, maybe my show, and I want that midget story somewhere down the line.
I mean, I've been busy and all, and I've done a lot of stuff.
I've been busy. Oh my
god! I honestly could have been a part of what's it called? Pedo Pro Wrestling.
Pedo Pro Wrestling. PPW, Pedo Pro Wrestling.
All right. Well, we're gonna lead in
because he fucked a midget.
but it wasn't because of her age. It was because of her height.
Oh my god. All right. From that, we're gonna lead into ECW Hostile City Showdown '95, April 15th, 1995, from the ECW Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The show kicks off with the ring announcements for our opening match, which is Stevie Richards taking on Mikey Whipwreck.
Well, where was I? How come I wasn't on this show?
What about that word jumble thing they had at the beginning of it? That was fucking weird.
It was, and it never. I don't know that it led to anything. I never saw what it was supposed to lead to. You know what I mean? It was just mind blowing.
I never saw what you were talking about. What do you mean word jumble?
Go ahead, Aaron. Talk about it.
Well, right before the show started, they did like a word like all these different words like flashed on the screen real quick, and then they just jumped into the show.
Like Paulie being Paulie, I guess.
I mean, give me a couple of words because I didn't see this at all.
I do have a couple of the words. It was a quick thing.
Midget.
No, it wasn't midget.
No knees.
Like that. It was just this quick thing, and one of the things it said was watch more TV, freedom, believe, the truth is a myth. That was just a bunch of shit that popped up.
And well, how never let them? Jesus.
Wait a second here. How did the production look? Did it look like it was produced from Steve and Paul from ECW, or was this third party shit?
Right. Did like WWE add that to the network or something?
No, this was an ECW. I think it was Paul, and it was a Raven thing they were doing, but it was a bunch of quick just clips of like words and phrases and shit that it was like super quick, and I had to like pause to see what I could see. Like I had to like pause it to like get the words that they were putting up there. It was weird, but it was cool.
Did the words stink?
No.
Suck? Boo? Were they any of the words? Because I actually don't even, I don't remember seeing any of this. All I remember was seeing, I mean, the way my show opened was with stupid fucking Stevie Richards. and Mikey. That's the way the show opened with me. And
No,
I was
mine
just
mine
like,
opened the same way as Aaron's, but I didn't think much of it because it didn't lead to anything. See, if it would have led to something later on, I probably would have found myself going back and seeing what it was about. But it didn't. They never mentioned it again in the show.
well, Archie didn't lead to anything later on, not even on this show, but entirely.
No, it was like they did it one time and we're like, we're done. I don't remember this ever happening again.
I wonder if that was something to do with Brian Lee.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to think, but no, it didn't air on what I watched, or I didn't pay attention because it must have been quick. But I can't think of anybody, immediately that came in per se that whatever that would have had anything to do with that, because I know Brian Lee was probably right around the time where he was like where Paul was going to just start pretending to pay everybody to come in. Yeah, I'll bring all these other guys in. We'll just start pretending to pay these people and see what we can get. So, yeah, man, I have to go back and look at that one, man. That's very interesting, Archie. Good
Right?
pull.
No, definitely, Aaron. Like I said, I didn't think much of it because it didn't lead anywhere. Mikey and Stevie had actually a really good wrestling match, which was surprising to a certain extent. A lot of
Yeah, well,
interaction from the outside with Raven, Hack Myers coming out after Mikey left the ring for a minute, then came back, and then the Pitbulls and Public Enemy as well.
they
So just
must have had a
matches all over
really
the
good
place.
match. They must have had a really good match because right next to it, I wrote "oof."
It wasn't no. What I mean for those two individuals, Mikey being the rag doll who gets thrown around and Stevie being the goofball, they actually had a decent match compared to what I remember them doing in ECW. You know what I mean?
Oh, because you remember you remember the reason why you remember what you remember was because at the time that you saw them, neither one of them two could fucking lead a Walmart.
Right.
And
Exactly.
and you see where I'm going here. and, and,
Right.
and both of them guys thought that they were the fucking catch me out because they both worked in a fucking local fucking an Hispanic gym somewhere, and they had their little spot fest match, and it was great. You should have seen them 14 kids. Oh, they were going banana. They were going banana. But yeah, I was watching it, and the only fucking 4 letters that I could have wrote next to that was OOFF. And I was like, I said, this match is ridiculous. It was ridiculous, and it's no offense to like you, Archie. I'm not saying you didn't
No,
see
no,
a
no.
good
I
match,
understand.
and it's nothing like that. But I'm watching it from my perspective,
Of
um,
course, of course.
and then I'm watching it going, why'd they send them two out there? Like it was murder. Like they sent these two
Well, I
out
mean,
there to die.
they were the opening match, so I guess if somebody has to pull the curtain open and leave it to the two guys that no one's really going to care about that much right now.
Well,
You
it was
know.
the one guy nobody's going to care about right now, because Mikey, they already cared about.
Oh yeah, they love Mikey.
Yeah,
They love Mikey.
the main thing that I put from it was that this was the debut of Stevie's gimmick, like before, because he had been wrestling in like the tights and doing like the Scotty Flamingo and Johnny Polo and wrestling in the normal like wrestling gear. This was the debut of Stevie in his old short shorts and his crop top and all that shit. So that's the main thing I took away from it.
So it served its purpose, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Joey constantly saying, "I want to see him sing YMCA" was like, wow. Even at that time, like Joey Styles was straight up calling him queer.
Dude, I can't tell you. I mean, I don't know for a fact, and I'm not even going to speculate this at all. But how much me and Raven kind of like booked that whole entire like gimmick, because
Really,
well me and Raven were a lot closer than a lot of people like they knew about, because like around this time we were kind of traveling together with Stevie, but Stevie was kind of like the greenhorn of the guys,
right?
and me and Scotty were always talking about old Portland. and old stupid. Like our gimmick was stupid angles, like stupid
Okay.
promotions and stuff. And me and Scotty would have a ball doing all this, and somehow like just Stevie just kind of became the driver. And we used to when we would come up with all these stupid angles, Raven would be like, "Well, hey, look at Stevie to do it."
Let's try it out on Stevie, right?
And Stevie didn't give a shit, you know. So it was
Right.
like,
He was
yeah,
a
we'll
little-
get Stevie to do it.
Well, from that opening match, we flipped to a highlight from a match that happened, I guess, at a past Hostile City Showdown. Tony Stetson versus a name I know I'm going to screw up. Totsuba Genjin? I think I'm saying it
Uh,
right.
I'm not stepping on that fucking too.
And Totsuba has on some bad Kiss makeup, and I'm thinking he borrowed Jimmy Snuka's gear.
I thought it was Genki Sudo. Are you sure it wasn't Genki Sudo?
It was the name I had on my screen was Tosubo Genjin.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't at that show, like per se. I may have been there. No, I doubt I was even there because I was a big fan of them guys, and I loved all the Michinoku Pro guys. No, it wasn't even Michinoku Pro. It was more the Tokyo Pro guys.
Right.
And I loved them guys. And for some reason, I wasn't at that show. But yeah, I was like, what the fuck are these guys doing here? You know,
Yeah.
like who booked these fucking guys? You already got me and Mikey. Me and Mikey are already sweeping up the fucking, we're already sweeping up the locker room and cleaning the place up. Why they need some Japanese fucking ring boys?
Yeah.
But I mean, the guys were good because I mean, at the same time, what do we get out of that relationship? That wasn't the wing relationship. That was the Torimon, right?
Yeah.
So we got Grant Hamada, right? Is it? I mean, Aaron, is that it?
Well, Grant Hamada's they're gonna come up later. That's 96.
But what I'm saying is this is the beginning of the relationship, so to speak, correct? Where we started seeing guys like Grand Naniwa, Sasuke.
Yeah, Sasuke, Dick Togo.
Sausage cake. Great sausage cake.
Great tasty cake.
Yeah. No, he's sausage cake.
Sausage cake.
Sausage cake.
Yeah, but we started getting all them guys and stuff, and I remember being in the locker room, and it's just like I don't know who any of these fucking guys are. And I knew and around that time in the news, it was always like the jobs, like it was a big story about American jobs are being taken over by the immigrants or whatever. Here I am, I see a guy dressed up like Taz that weighs like fucking 80 pounds less than Taz. And and I see all these, I see Grand Naniwa and and sausage cakes. And I saw these guys and I was like, dude, there's no way I feel threatened by these bones. There's no way. Because all they could do is what they could do. And it was great. I mean, their stuff was great, and a couple of them got over. The Niwa, the guys that I thought really got over weren't the ones that even brought back, or the ones that even wanted to come back, like the Niwa. I was like, that guy's great, dude. I mean, what, I don't know what he's a gay panda.
He was.
Like, who doesn't love a gay panda?
Yeah. That is the perfect explanation for Naniwa. Gay panda.
Yeah.
Well,
The crowd's
I know.
the gay panda. How do you chant gay panda?
I'm sure there's a Japanese word for it somewhere.
Yeah. But I love those guys, dude. I loved anytime. This wasn't even a Victor thing, honestly. because I don't remember seeing Victor, because at this point I don't think he was allowed back in the United States. I think that Victor Kionis thing, I think that ship has sailed, and he had bigger fish to fry than worry about how to get these Japanese. Like, he's not smuggling Japanese in the United States anymore, like he did back in the early.
He was a super gay panda.
Yeah, yeah. If you wanted to see Super Panda, you had to go to the fucking 28th Street down there in Chinatown.
Well, Tatsuba wins with of all things, a knee drop, so he didn't have that much of a moveset. And we come back to live action or taped action because we're watching it now, and it's Axel Rotten in the ring and polling the fans on what they'll choose for his match against Ian later on tonight. He's just pulling out random weapons and like, should we use this bull rope? Should we use these Nintendos? Should we use this baseball bat? And the crowd's going, no, no, no.
Yeah, well, did anybody?
Well,
Did anybody? Was there one? Was there one like thing you could choose that said wrestling ability?
No, nobody said. I think that's why the fans kept saying no, because they wanted to see them wrestle, but they didn't.
No.
So he's like, fuck it, we'll use it all. And then Ian Rotten comes out, I guess, going completely off script and just starts beating the shit out of Axel.
Well, I would have loved a "We Want Wrestling" chant.
Wrong arena for that.
Well, I actually thought whatever they did, and this is not because of my love for Axel or not because of my disdain for fucking dumb fuck. I actually thought it was good.
For what it was, yeah.
It showed it presented a pretty good package. I don't know, Archie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but did Joey do like the commentary, like redid the highlight package with the commentary?
Yes.
So he kind of explained how it was going. Is that how it worked?
Yeah.
Like
He went word for word on what they were doing to each other, which was pretty much bleeding all over the place. And then he delivers the line of the night, a great line, I think, when he says, "I'll be damned, some wrestling," because Axel does a spinning heel kick. So even Joey realized they were going too far. He realized they were just going too much with the bleeding and the brawling.
That was that. Dude, Axel didn't want to even go that far. I remember Axel trying to figure out, and I think Axel was way smarter than people give him credit for, because Axel was in the business when he was a kid. And I think once he realized where him and Ian were at that point, I think he realized, okay, well, this is where it has to go. And after it goes to this point, I'll be working at Taco Bell. Well, at least Ian will be.
Right. Axel had a career in ECW after this.
Yeah, it sucked because Axel didn't have neither one of them two had the clout. Axel had the moxie to continue his career. Ian didn't have a fucking shit to, what the fuck, you know. Get the fuck out of here. Ian. Go get Too Tough Tony over there, you fucking ham. And Axel had the moxie to realize that it was this is how it was.
Yeah, Ian brings nothing to the table, but this feud and their matches that they have were like the first real like hardcore ECW type matches that they were having in the arena. So that's the only thing I really like about it.
But they weren't even that good.
I know they weren't that good. I'm just saying, like, it was the first like violence for violence type thing.
Dude, I'll tell you, Aaron, the way the matches stood out to anybody that watches the matches is watch how many times Axel would just raise the barbed wire bat in the air to let everybody know he's getting ready to use it, you know, on Ian. And then the crowd would pop. But then whenever he would do it, he would roll it down his arm or whatever. And then it'd be like nothing. But then all of a sudden, like a minute later, he would raise the bat again, and the crowd would pop, and it'd be like, yeah, you know what I mean, kind of thing. But that's how Axel was. Axel was a master at psychology, because Axel was a terrible worker, and Axel would not even lie to you, you know, and tell you he was some kind of master, worker. But it's funny how that worked, because if you watch it as many times as Axel just kill time by raising the bat above his head. Just kill
He's
time.
right about that. He's right about that, because I noticed this match was one of the longer of the matches on the card. Granted, they got a lot of spots in, but like Chad was saying, they really did milk it for time.
Yeah, they did. They didn't do anything. They sold to the corner like Abby and Carlos, and then all of a sudden, fat ass would roll out of the ring and Ian would chase him, and they would just brawl around the ring, and Ian would spill his fucking, whatever disease he had all over the people.
Oh God.
And the ECW crowd loved it because what's his name? Fucking Dread guy loved getting Ian's blood all over him.
Any other notes, Aaron?
No.
Other than the guy, the crowd loved having Axel's AIDS-related blood squirted all over him.
Well, Raven and Richards are now back at ringside with Joey Styles, and he once again makes a YMCA joke, and the Village people at Stevie. Stevie mentions that Tommy has never been able to beat Raven, and then also introduces us to, for the first time, Eula McGillicuddy. And we find out her history with Dreamer and Raven dating back to their camp days.
Well,
first
Aaron,
real storyline, I think, for ECW, right?
Well, Aaron, you know the story better than not better than me, but you know it as well as I do, because I laid this out for you a couple weeks ago when we talked about how all of a sudden this whole idea popped in Scotty's head when remember we talked about how they had no idea where this angle was going.
Yeah.
And then it was like, well, hey, well, what about like dated like Tommy Jamie's girlfriend, and Tommy's like, what? Yeah, it was the angle. The angle came out of necessity, right? Isn't that how we figured it out? We had to figure out a way to tie all these fucking ham bones into the same story, and then and by the way, now Raven's got this girl that he wants to bring into the story, Oh, it's Beulah. Yeah, that's pretty much how it worked. Yeah, and what do you think we cared? None of us gave a shit. I think most of the guys in the locker room, not me, because at that point I wasn't looking. Most point just thought it was Paul just bringing in hookers. Like for the rest of the boys. Like, I can't pay y'all guys, but I can bring in hot girls, and then whoever gets her,
And Nicole Bass. Eventually, Nicole Bass.
Yeah, Nicole Bass missed Chad's ass because Chad wasn't there for that piece of fucking loving.
But Chad, like I said, this was like ECW's first long-term storytelling, right? Where they went with, oh, well, they've known each other since childhood, and he used to tease this girl, and now Raven loves her, and she's with Raven to torture Tommy, and she's a penthouse pet, which made no sense because, you know what I mean? Like, they were just throwing random facts at us.
Well, it was all Scotty, because me and Scotty, like I'm not going to say that I had a hand in any of this whatsoever, but me and Scotty would travel together. This dated back to even before he was even in ECW. And we used to talk about Portland, and like how that little button that's on your fucking stove that when you turn it and it says low, and then it says medium, and then it says high, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Scotty put it on low. He learned the word simmer, and he learned how to plant a seed of an angle that he knew that it was gonna prosper about 3 months down the road, 4 months down the road, 5 months down the road. So he's like, Paul, hey, Paul, what do you do this thing? Yeah, whatever. And then and Paul will be like at the ECW, like, yeah, whatever, for Scotty, whatever you want to
Do what you
do.
want. Right.
Yeah,
Well, I
and
think
then
Paul trusted Scotty too, though, right? I mean, he understood Scotty had a mind for the business.
oh yeah. But I mean, me and Scotty hit it off. We hit it off instantly. Once he realized that I saw Portland wrestling from 1990, and I made a comment to him about something about like Don Coss or something or whatever, and he's like, "Hey, what do you know about that?" And I go, "What do you fucking know?" You know, because I said, I got your stuff, dude. I got your stuff from like '89. Yeah. Then we ended up becoming friends because everything that we ever talked about was always about how we can relate it to Portland. And I'm trying to tell this joke that Portland was terrible. Like, are you trying to make ECW Portland? It was a terrible disaster, but at the end of the day, it was still terrible. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Scotty loved it and he did, because I mean the whole entire Beulah thing, all that nonsense was so Portland, and the Philadelphia people just didn't realize it. And Scotty will walk back to the dressing room. Yeah, we got him. Yeah, you see that? And I just sit there and look at him going, yeah, if only Joey Styles would have been in the crow's nest at the Portland Sports Arena. He's like, and Scott tried it. He tried all that. Yeah, it was great. Like we really, wow. I can't even believe I'm saying this, but we really tried to turn ECW into Portland. Wow. I can't even believe that, because Scott would have done it. He would have fucking totally let fucking Paulie ruin his whole entire company just because Scotty wanted to make bad wrestling again. Like, all of a sudden we're gonna have roller derby on Wednesday afternoons, and they're gonna advertise that
when they got to TNN, they did have roller derby following them, so it wasn't that far off.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Dreamer and Raven then have their match, and they fought all over the arena, Aaron. And seeing Tommy Dreamer use a plastic dinosaur and a dozen eggs is hilarious. And what made ECW fun to me?
Yeah, it was a ECW brawl, and they brought out the kitchen sink and all that shit. Like,
right.
It was a means to the end with their brawl.
Dude, is it me, or does Tommy Dreamer not had a brawl with somebody without having a finish? Like, he'll just brawl at somebody and they'll just carry him around the ring for the whole rest of the night.
Yeah.
Like, there's no like end thing in sight, where just say, New Jack, I'm gonna put you through a table, I'm gonna jump off the top of the building, or Sandman or whatever. But with Tommy Dreamer is, I'm just gonna brawl you through the building until we're all tired.
Even the fans.
Like, there's no end game with Tommy Dreamer's brawling, and that's not a good thing, right?
Well, you're right about that. A lot of his matches would just end with the brawl ending, and that was it. He'd either be standing tall or knocked out on the floor. So
yeah,
we'd never have an end game. You're right about that.
It makes sense, and if I'm not correct, I don't think it was till Brian Lee came in that changed all that shit, where he was like, I came from down the South, man, and you can't beat a guy pinfall every night until it's the finish of the program. You know, you tease it, but when the guy's getting ready to move on to the next territory, as Brian Lee was, that you really, you got to keep leaving that finish open until he's getting ready to leave, and then you beat him on the way out. But it just Tommy's just beating guys left and right now. Raven, I thought he never pinned Raven. They showed a video right there in the middle of the ring of fucking Dreamer pinning Raven. But it must have been some tag match or something, right?
Yeah, he never pinned Raven. I think until like one of the last year of ECW, he finally pinned him in their feud.
I know, but they showed the video of him pinning him.
I think you're right. I think that was either a tag match or it might have been a 6-man. It was something, but it was not a singles win.
Oh no, it wasn't.
That was always the biggest thing.
Yeah, you're right, Arch. It wasn't because I'm sitting there watching it going, they spent the whole year talking about how
he didn't pin Raven until I think he beat him in 97, right before.
Yeah, I was going to say 97 or early 98.
What was it? Was it Hardcore 7 or 97 or? I can't remember the name of the show, but yeah, I remember when he pinned him, it was a big deal, and I just laughed at it and go, I think it was like 2 years too late.
Well, the thing of it is he pinned him, but the crack up was Francine turned on him too. So it was like you made it that Dreamer had no way to win, and then he finally got the win. So even there was still leaving an open to the book if they ever wanted to go back to Dreamer versus Raven, which they have throughout their entire careers. Always Impact Wrestling, WWE, it didn't matter. They always got back into their feud.
Oh, that's the story of Paulie's life, dude. It's an open book. If you ever want to go back to that shit. He'll go back to fucking 5 years later. If I'm in the locker room, he's like, "Hey Chad, 911." Yeah, I know. He'll play the hits. He's like Billy Joel. He'll play the hits.
Well, this was the first time also in this match we got the first Beulah McGillicuddy pile driver. And then, as Chad said earlier, the match ended with no result. The bell rang, and Dreamer just sat there in the middle of the ring screaming ECW.
Because Dreamer lost.
No, there was never a pinfall or a count. It was like the referee just threw the match out. There was never even a sign of what happened at the ending of the match.
Well, it's the easiest job in the world, ECW referee.
Right, sit there and count.
Just sit there and you ring the bell and you just shake your head for 14 minutes. and then you hope Ian gets the fuck out of there.
Aaron, any other notes about Dreamer Raven?
No, just it was a walking brawl, and like you said, there wasn't really an outcome of the match. It was just Tommy pile driving Beulah, which popped the crowd. That's all it was.
Right. The one thing I liked about it, Aaron, he turned Beulah around to every part of the arena so they could see she was wearing a white thong. Like that was going to make the fans go, oh, you know what I mean? Like he was trying to pop the fans even more.
Well, he did that. He did that.
Paulie for you, man. There was no chance that Paulie was not going to leave that stone unturned.
Right.
If Paulie knew that he was going to show some fucking, piece of shit, hot broad's ass on TV or whatever, then he was going to make sure that she was wearing some coochie cutters. That's what I just said. I just said coochie cutters, babe. That's right. Yeah, man. And all right, I'm getting ready to listen to 2 Live Crew.
Well, we go to our next matchup, which I have to say, this was one of the first ECW matches I ever witnessed live as it was happening on television, because I found ECW in 1995. And the first 3 matches I ever saw was 2 Cold Scorpio versus Jason, Malenko versus Scorpio, and then we go to this matchup, which is Eddie Guerrero versus Dean Malenko for the World Television title.
Yeah.
I don't have any notes.
I'll let Aaron go first, because I'm kind of in a transitional mode here, where I'm transitioning to going downstairs.
Okay.
I don't have any notes on the match because it's like what we talk about, where you watch a great fucking match, so you have no notes because you're just watching it. You
Right.
know? It's a fucking 4-star match. I have nothing that I can really like say about it other than it was fucking great.
Yeah, you pretty much don't say, well, if you got to use the word well in describing Guerrero,
Malero.
I like that.
Malenko, then you pretty much didn't. You don't know who you're talking to. You know what I mean? With the match, and then if you got to go, any further about how it was, I can just tell you that. And I thought we already had this conversation. Then we already had this conversation there where the locker room was just sitting there with their fucking jaw. You had these two fat fucking pieces of garbage, Axel and Ian, out there, beating the shit out of each other, and they come back because they got a nice reception, and then you got Malenko Guerrero going out there going, "We're working." and the crowd goes bananas, and they go walking through the curtain, and I come rushing up to Eddie Guerrero with a paper towel because I want to wipe the bleeding off, and I go, "Wait a minute, there's no blood."
Nope.
Where
Ounce of blood in an ECW match.
And then I run over to Dean. Where was the blood? No blood. There's no blood going on. That's fucking wrestling, man.
This was a 30-minute classic between two men who went on to eventually. They were already stars, but they went on to become mega stars in WCW, WWF. And the thing I loved about these two guys is that they never had the same match twice. They would always have a different outing.
They did.
Well, in ECW, the 3 matches they had were kind of similar. But then when you go to their WCW days and their WWF days, it was a different style. They changed it up so much.
Oh no,
as they got older.
Archie, I was totally about to give you credit because they didn't have the exact same match twice. They had the same match twice, but they went a different way with the finish.
Right.
Because like the fish out of water spot, I don't know if you know what that is. I'm sorry, I'm not calling you guys ignorant if you don't know what it is, but they do that spot to death. And it's called the fish out of water spot. And then you know what it is, where he grabs the hands and they do the fucking TikTok spot. He rolls up. You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm talking about? When they lock the hands and they do the whole thing where they leapfrog.
Yeah, the kip up leapfrog. Yeah. It's about like 35, 45 seconds of chain wrestling.
Yeah, they done that. They done that a gazillion times, and the cool thing was I was fortunate enough to be there when working the loop, the house shows where Malenko and Guerrero, they would work these spots out. And I know I was just sitting there going, oh, fuck no, I ain't that fucking good. There's no fucking way. Like, if Paul Lee came up to me and asked me, hey man, Eddie can't make it tonight, can you? No,
not for that.
I don't even know who you're asking me to work with. I'm just telling you, if it's gonna be with Eddie Guerrero and you want any kind of a good match, that's not happening. I ain't got time for that, dude.
Have you come out with a black wig? Have you come out with a black wig and a mustache, Chad Guerrero?
I can't. I wouldn't have been surprised if they would have fucking done that shit.
Well, this match went to a 30-minute draw, which was, in my opinion, fantastic. And it was a match that didn't belong on this card because it personified something else other than what ECW was known for, or would become known for.
I think it did because it was. Sorry, Arch, I didn't mean to cut you.
No, you didn't cut me off. Go right ahead.
You're cutting off the great Archie Mitchell.
Oh God,
what's the matter with you?
I think it worked because
it worked. I agree.
It was a great classic match in between a bunch of shit. You know what I mean? Like it was Paulie showing you what he was doing, you know? Like
Right.
I'm gonna give everybody a slice of everything they want.
Dude, there's 100% chance. Was this wasn't the first time they worked, right? Or was it the first one?
No, this was the first time they worked. Eddie was in green
Oh,
and black.
oh.
This,
Then
I think,
there's
was
a
their second
hundred
match.
percent chance. There's 100% chance that Paulie had no idea what them two fucking goose were doing out there.
Oh,
It
no.
was it wasn't until afterwards that he knew that. There's no way that Paulie anticipated that Eddie Guerrero and Malenko were gonna have that match. There's no way he did. And then afterwards, he saw it in fucking editing and said, "Oh,
We got to do this a lot more."
yeah." It's like he saw his first episode of The Love Boat, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Gigi. Oh yeah, Zsa Zsa Gabor, or whatever. Oh yeah, look at these. These aren't buoys."
And I don't think Dean Malenko gets enough credit.
Out of the guys that left ECW and WCW for the WWF, I agree with you. Malenko did not get enough credit at the tail end of his career.
For what?
Just for
being the worker he was.
as great as he is or was. I like people talk about Eddie and they talk about like Ray and all those guys, like Cruiserweight Benoit and all those guys, but I don't think Dean gets enough credit for being the fucking talent that he was. In my
all right, how about I tell you this, and I'll see what you think. It wasn't about nothing was about Dean Malenko. It was about what Dean Malenko saw. Dean Malenko wasn't the prize of getting anything out of ECW or any talent whatsoever. It was somebody saw something in Dean Malenko's eyes and said, "This guy can spot talent." That kind of
why he's an agent now.
That's what I mean. That's why Dean Malenko. I could have sat there and looked at him and I could have kneed him in the face by accident just by walking, and 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 just been like, "I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry, Swoggle."
Oh God.
And he could have never been anything, but no, it's because he had an eye, because he had his wrestling school, his crappy little school down there, whatever it was, and he had an eye for guys, and and you always gotta. That's setting shit up for the future, and that goes without saying, because you guys aren't stupid. You guys, what I mean, know how that shit works. You gotta. If Dean Malenko at this point is 45, 47 years old, what are you gonna put on top?
Well, I agree with you there, but I mean, he the stuff he was doing in ECW with Benoit, I mean, he was getting great matches. I know you're not going to agree with me, Chaz, but he was getting great matches out of the Public Enemy in tag matches. You know what I mean? And putting guys over whenever he could.
I'll
So
agree.
that's
I'll
that's
agree.
what I think. I don't know if that's what aired means, but the guy did great things through his entire career, in my opinion, and should have gotten a little more out of it than he did. I don't think he should have been a world heavyweight champion, but he definitely could have been bigger in WWF.
I'm not saying he should have been the world champion. I'm not saying this, that, or the other thing. I'm just saying I think Dean Malenko is kind of like a
gatekeeper.
Yeah, like he's a guy that it's like he's kind of like a Steven Regal. Like
good point.
That he's just a wrestler's wrestler.
Everybody respects him in the locker room. Everybody knows that he could beat your ass if he wanted to. It's just that creative, he got nothing for you.
Yeah. And it's just like I think that dude was the best of that crop of people in like the early 90s and late 90s, and he's just not somebody that gets talked about a lot because he wasn't like a outward person or
Dude, that dude was making that guy was making like $13,000 a week, working for like whatever some offshoot New Japan company was. And we, I remember just talking to him about bullshit, whatever. And he's like, dude, they've been paying me for whatever, how many months, whatever. And he's like, I ain't been to Japan in, X amount of days. And he's still getting like $13,000 a week checks and stuff like that. And I was just like, how the fuck do you get this gig?
Right?
Who the fuck do I gotta call? Genki Sudo? But then I realized he was later on in this show.
So we go now to the ECW World Heavyweight title match, and it's Shane Douglas, the franchise, taking on the Sandman. And the rivalry between these two was great, in my opinion, but I hated it ending so Douglas could leave. I think they could have gotten more out of it. I don't know.
I thought this sucked.
Really?
This is shit.
I thought it was terrible.
I'm a Shane Douglas fan, so maybe I saw it from a different light. I mean, I know Chad definitely saw it from a different light.
Oh, dude, they all right. I mean, did you like the presentation, or did you like the whole entire?
No, the presentation, the way the woman comes out with the franchise, Sandman's sitting there in his American flag pants, which I always thought was ridiculous. And then by the end of the match, you're like, shit, why did women turn on Shane Douglas?
Oh, dude, I would have thought something like that they would have gave the whole hour to. Like the whole entire hour.
Quick. It was quick. I think it was like 15 minutes in total.
I think it was 12:30.
You might be right.
I went and I was like, I was kind of like writing notes down while I was watching it, and then I looked up and I saw it went to a commercial break. On my thing, it was a Peacock break.
Peacock commercial, yeah, mine too.
And then I clicked back and I'm like, all right, well, it's around 12, almost 13 minutes or whatever. And then I'm just like, but it's over. Like, what happened? Like, where did everything go? And this was it.
Well, I think Eddie and Dean took a little bit of their time, 30 minutes before them. You know what I mean? So
I just wasn't I just wasn't satisfied, Arch. I just wasn't.
I agree. The payoff for me though, the priceless moment was Shane jumping out of the ring and putting on the Monday Night Raw shirt and basically telling us all to go fuck ourselves. You know what I mean? It was like, I'm leaving. I ain't staying here no more. I'm finally going to the big time, which we know how that went.
Well, I mean, we all knew what was going on because there was a whole fucking meeting gimmick and everything. And believe me, Shane didn't have a fucking army behind him.
No,
he didn't. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of guys that were going to stand there and go, hey, if we're all happy for Shane, give me a hell yeah. No. we were all like, all right, man, thanks for coming, dude.
Right, let him go.
That's pretty much how it became for everybody. Malenko, Guerrero, Benoit. Hey, at that point, dude, and Hack Myers was one of my best friends at the time. But if he would have walked up to me and said, all right, buddy, I'm going to WCW. All right, man, see you later. Just like everybody else. All right, man. Then I'm sitting there just waiting for my check in the mail or my little notification in the mail.
Aaron, why did you think it was terrible? You said you didn't like it. I think Aaron froze.
You know what? I heard some stuff about Aaron recently, and I don't know if I should bring it up on this show because I don't want to talk about somebody who's not here.
There he is.
Oh,
Aaron, you back?
Sorry.
Oh yeah, everybody tells me Aaron is the nicest guy.
Who you talking to? Wait a second.
I was talking to Walmart. I was on chat with Walmart 5130.
Oh,
yeah, they told me you're a swell guy.
Well, yeah.
And once they told me you were swell, I realized they were handicapped. They were texting with their nose.
Aaron, what didn't you like about Shane and Sandman?
I just never really liked watching them work together. I like their styles didn't really work for me, and I don't enjoy it. I mean, there's not a lot I can say about it. Just I don't think those guys gelled, in my opinion.
And the problem is that if you look at later on in ECW matches, some of the better matches, I would say fast forward some of the maybe Candido stuff, whatever, is that there's a certain person that's going to be a common denominator in all their matches, and it's going to be Shane,
right?
And then it's going to be like that whole entire split when Shane left kind of thing was it wasn't the greatest thing, and they didn't do it publicly like they really should have done it. You know what I mean? They remember the whole Grand Wizard thing, Aaron. Like it wasn't too far off from that when he's yelling out names and everything, and people were just sitting down there, just like I think they were throwing bars of soap at each other.
Oh God!
Yeah, and we're just sitting there going like, I just want to get paid, man. like so I can go home, bro. I just want to go home, man. And what is Shane's wearing a towel? He's throwing bars of fucking soap at Paulie and shit, and they're arguing. Yeah, like that sucked, man. I never had that problem there. So it's kind of hard for me to believe because Paul, the mystery house guest by calling him is one thing. That's one thing. Yeah. But I always got dates, so I always knew where to go where I was booked. But when you got Shane running around in a towel, and Francie running around in a towel, and everything, you thought they were filming a skit, but now it's like, give the money. it's not a skit for the show.
Apparently, according to Shane, as of a few months ago, he still owes Shane money. So I don't know if that's true or not. Or it's just Shane.
Dude, Bill Watts still owes Shane money.
Everybody owes Shane money.
I mean, I work at Walmart, and I can look up Shane on my phone and see if he still works. See if he still works there. But yeah, he owes everybody money. There's no chance. Paulie is always going to owe people money. There's no chance that he's going to die a debt-free person.
Do you think he owes Roman Reigns any money?
Sure. He owes. The only person that he doesn't owe money to was me.
Okay.
Because he always had $100 in his pocket.
Okay, so, all right, fair enough.
So instead of me standing around at the end of the night waiting for like Todd or these fucking bones to cut checks, and I go to Paul, and Paul would fucking open up his fucking pocket and he pull out $100 or $200, and he just like, thank you, a very good job tonight. And then I just look at him and go, did you even see what I did? He'd be like, well, no, but
I heard that.
Yeah. And I'm just like, well, all right. Well, should I call? No, just be here next time. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. That's how it worked.
From Paul Heyman not being able to pay anybody to the Public Enemy and the Pitbulls, ladies and gentlemen, for the ECW tag team titles.
Yeah. From Paulie not being able to pay anybody to anybody paying anybody to watch Pitbull versus Public Enemy.
Right.
What's the matter with you? They actually they put this match on probably at 10 o'clock at night.
Well, on the show it was like the next to last match. So yeah, it probably.
Good thing they served fucking beer.
was another ECW hardcore war where both teams just fought all over the arena and bled all over each other. And when they finally got back in the ring to actually wrestle, they were so blew up, I don't think they could really go anymore. And then the Pitbulls looked dead, and they were the muscular ones.
Dude, I have a note that says right on my second page, Public Enemy sucks. And then I wrote, dude. I wrote, this is a mess. And I wrote, not a great mess.
Oh no, I agree. I agree with you on
Dude,
that
they're
one.
terrible. They're terrible. They're terrible, and it's inexplicable of how Public Enemy got away with what they got away with for as long as they got away with it.
In all three companies too. They jumped from every company they could go to.
Well, no, Archie, that's not that. At that point, it's the other company's fault. But
Right.
but the fact that they allowed that, like, what? WCW, I could see.
Right, but WWE had to see the big picture by then that they weren't doing anything of worth.
They were fucking. They were Axel and Ian. They were Rock.
Their WCW career consisted of them fighting the Nasty Boys every night, every week, all week. You know. So why WWF wanted them was beyond me.
WWF only wanted them because they didn't want anybody else to have them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But the crowd loved it. The crowd was screaming for more at the end of the match.
They were screaming for Boar?
No, not Boar, more.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah. I gave up Public Enemy. I gave up Public Enemy. I don't know, Aaron. Like, we probably talked, like, me and you, like, Nate's the one that keeps the show together. And then when me and you start beating somebody up, Aaron, that's when Nate tries to pull it all together. Yeah. But I'm sure we beat up Public Enemy.
We've beat up Public Enemy more than fucking Bradshaw and Farouk. But the Pitbulls is a different story for me. Oh. Like, I'm not a huge fan of, obviously I'm not a huge fan of Gary Wolf by himself, but the Pitbulls as a tag team, I actually dig the Pitbulls as a tag team.
I didn't know that about you, really.
Well, I mean, are you asking, like, for my opinion?
Well, I wasn't. You can tell me.
Aaron's like, I wasn't, but
in 1991, or maybe even 90, in like Pro Wrestling Illustrated, they put out like a thing about like tag team people or whatever it was, and the Pitbulls were in it. And then it wasn't until like 92 that a buddy of mine told me, it's like, hey man, have you ever seen these guys, the Pitbulls? Like the one guy's been over to Japan, blah blah blah, you know. And then I started doing research, and then I ended up working with Gary, and then we started then I started like hearing about them, and we were like, dude, these guys are actually fucking pretty good, but they weren't pretty good, you know. They weren't pretty good as in like they weren't smooth. They weren't like safe. You know what I mean? They're pretty good and they'll beat your ass, you know?
Yeah.
But they weren't pretty good in like they're gonna have a great match with you. You know what I mean? Like they were gonna take care of you or whatever. But yeah, we heard about them, and I thought it was a cool thing when I got to work with Gary, but I learned the hard way. It wasn't the greatest thing in the world. But working with Anthony, as we called him, he was great.
But I thought they were a good tag team, and I thought like they looked good together. And I'm a fan of the Pitbulls. I'm not a fan of Public Enemy, obviously, but the Pitbulls, they were good shit in my opinion.
Well, they were perfect because I mean I was gonna say, Aaron, before you said Public Enemy, I was going to say what's a better signature tag team for your company than the Pitbulls? And then your answer would have been Public Enemy, and that's what I want. Yeah, you're right. But but what's another great signature tag team for your company that would stand out? Because you got to have somebody. You got to have somebody to fight somebody, right?
Yeah.
So you got to have somebody, and that's how it was. And the Pitbulls were that team. And look what happened to fucking Anthony. I mean, Gary kind of fell apart, but Anthony took off, dude.
Yeah.
I'll put Anthony's run as one of my favorite, probably ECW runs of all time, because you don't see a guy who's a number 2 tag team, a number 2 guy in a tag team get a singles run where he wins like the TV title and he's in the fucking mix for the heavyweight title. It's like, when's that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was because Gary got hurt, though, right?
That's Gary's fault.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it was Gary's fault, but
Well, Gary slipped him on ban appeal. I think it was Gary's fault.
Well, we then shift to another highlight from, I guess, again, another Hostile City Showdown match, and it's Ron Simmons taking on Chad Austin's best friend, 911. And I was surprised to see 911 deliver a super choke slam and then actually beat Ron Simmons. That made no sense to me.
Ron was on his way out. Ron's going to Vince at this point, so that's why
Right.
that's why he went over, or that's why he put 911 over.
Yeah, I mean, that was what was that, a 3-night deal? A 3-show deal.
Well, that's all it was. I thought he was there for quite some time.
Well, at first, but it had to be tantalizing for Ron to come back.
Right.
Because remember the whole Tully thing?
Yeah.
It was going to be, if Tully's going to come in, he wants to know, am I going to be here? Am I figured in? Am I going to be here for 3 months? Am I going to be here for a month?
Right.
And then when Ron realized, I'm figured in. So why not do it, right?
Yeah. I guess you're right, but it was just weird. In so many ways.
Well, Ron was going back to WCW, wasn't he?
No, that's what he's going. No, he wasn't going back to WCW. He was going to Vince at this point.
Okay, so what? The Farouk or whatever.
Yeah.
So he was pretty much just saying, all right, I'll just do whatever, because I'm probably being sent here, by Vince to put over your stupid fucking goof 911 or whatever. I'll do it and on my way out. I got a paycheck gonna be in my mail in about 2 weeks.
Right.
Gonna change my life.
And then we go to our huge main event, the match that was put up for, I believe it was like a month and a half's worth of a feud between these two that led to this feud. I mean, it's a feud that spanned the entire globe, that main event tonight. It's Terry Funk versus Cactus Jack. But Terry came back, and for about a month, these two tortured each other before they got to this match, right?
Well, I'm amazed that Archie Mitchell is a step-in guy tonight hosting the show, and he's got all kinds of back notes.
Why wouldn't I? I'm a wrestling connoisseur.
He's the one guy that listens to our show.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Why wouldn't I listen?
Then who better to host it then? Somebody that actually watches this shit. I watched it in pretty much, I don't know, 2 times fast speed. And it's like, all right, I got a lot to do today. I got to rush through this fucking piece of crap. And, and once I realized I wasn't on it, believe me, double fast forward.
Fast forward.
Yeah. I mean, Ron Simmons was always, I don't know if you guys heard anything different, but Ron Simmons, to me, was always what I thought was a company guy. And I loved being in the locker room with Ron Simmons.
I've never heard anything bad about him.
No shit, dude.
No.
You walk over to him, you get coffee with him and shit. You talk to him, he asks you how you doing. like, hey, how you doing? And and I look at him like, why do you want to know? I didn't ask Paul Laurie how he was doing. Like, like we have levels here, Hey, Ron, us jobbers, we all kind of stick together, we all kind of hang over here. And Ron was like, oh, no, you guys, if you guys are on the show, you guys made the show. Like shit like that. If you guys were, if you guys built the house, I'm just happy to be a part of it. Like that kind of shit. And I was like, all right, dude, whatever, man. I'm not gonna cross him because I ain't gonna tell you he ain't gonna give me a fucking Alabama slam thing in the locker room. I had no problem with you, Ron. Like, you a good man. You do it for the children.
Funk and Cactus started out as a wild matchup. Went all over the arena, back up to the crow's nest, to the stage. Funk didn't prove he didn't know how to climb a ladder. He came down and Cactus just belted him as he was coming down. I think Cactus saved him actually from falling down the ladder. And then the Sandman got involved, which intensified this feud between these two even more in the match.
So you really think Terry Funk didn't know how to climb up that ladder?
No, I knew that, but the way he came down and he looked like he was about to slide down on his ass and break his head. And I'm a Terry Funk fan, but he looked discombobulated.
Dude, Terry Funk looked like he discombobulated when he's just asking for directions.
Right.
Like, he'll pull into a fucking whatever mini mart and he'll walk into a place and be like, I was trying to find, at that point, the guy just goes, just hop on the fucking exit. Get on 95 and just go south, or you know what I mean? Yeah, Terry's Terry, and there's no chance that Terry didn't have fucking some bone with him that was driving him anyway.
Yeah, it was Lemonhead.
Who? Who's Lemonhead?
Lemonhead drives Terry around.
Who's Lemonhead again?
Who's Lemonhead?
Dory.
No, Dory drove. No,
there's no chance. The Philadelphia police are not going to allow these two Funk brothers to drive around just aimlessly in South Philadelphia. And it wasn't Marty. Marty would have had some other guy drive and cussed at him the whole entire time.
It was Jimmy Jack. He's driving around. That's who's driving fucking Marty and Lemonhead and fucking Terry around. It's Jimmy.
And then
Jack.
all of a sudden, Moondog Spot's in the car.
Yeah, Moondog Spot. He's driving.
And so it's a minivan now. Now it's a minivan driving them around.
Oh no! In the wrestling business, you could fit as many guys as you can in the car.
I've noticed that by many of the stories, there's like 8 people in a 4-door. It makes no sense.
Dude, I had a different rule in my car because I had a car I could have put 6 people in, but I said no. This is what I'm putting in my car. I'll put Raven Richards, I don't know, in my car, and Raven's guitar, which he never even used.
He just had it with him.
Yeah, because he's learning how to play fucking Pearl Jam songs or some shit like that. And I'll put that in my car. But other than that, hey, stop off. Hey man, we gotta pick up Frankie Kazarian. Who the fuck's Frankie Kazarian? He don't even work here. You know what I mean? Like, all he wants to go to Sonic. I ain't got time to pick up Frank because I'm driving a pickup truck, Raven. You already got Stevie sitting in the back and it's fucking freezing now in the back of the truck, and now you want me to pick up Frankie Kazarian and pick up what's that other fucking guy? D'Amore. No, the D'Amore guy.
Scott D'Amore.
Scott D'Amore.
Yeah. I ain't got unless Scott D'Amore wants to sit in the back of my truck. That's all the room I got, buddy. Because I used to pick all them fucking goose up at the fucking the airport was like less than 13 minutes from the hotel.
Yep.
And less than
And from the
20
arena,
minutes,
too.
Yeah, less than 20
Yep.
minutes from the arena.
Yep.
So it'd be like, all right, well, Chad, you're not going on till, or Chad could have already been on the show from 911, and then it's like, all right, you're done now. So, hey, do you mind running to the airport and picking up so and so? It's like, all right, whatever, man. Fucking them.
Funk and Cactus main event the show and end it with a branding iron on fire and blowing a fireball, which got the crowd going crazy. And I have to say, me being 14 years old at the time, it made me go look for their FMW death matches. And once I saw them, I was hooked, and I've always been a Funk fan, a Cactus fan. It really was a fun matchup to end the show in the ECW way.
All right. Well, I'd be very interested in hearing what Aaron had to think about this.
Yeah.
I thought it was all right, but I just think it was kind of.
Sing it, sister.
It was.
Come on, tell us.
It's not what I wanted it to be at the end of the show.
Oh,
even with the fire and shit.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of a shit finish and didn't really do much for me.
The whole show had a lot of shit finishes, though. I mean, so what were they going to put on last?
Well, dude, I thought that was a bad. I thought it was a good tease, but I always thought it was a bad deliverance to the people. That's what I thought. Because Aaron, I thought you were going my route there. I was like, dude, I love the idea. We're gonna see Funk, Terry on TV. But we saw Funk and Terry on TV for it was 7 minutes of the match cut up.
Yeah.
All over the mat, all over the place. And I'm thinking what? And then all of a sudden out of nowhere they show the fucking the video. You can order the video.
Right.
And I'm thinking what do you mean? I'm watching the show now. And they tell me I gotta pay $34.95 to see how it really ends up.
Yeah, Paulie would love to find out why Cactus Jack and Terry Funk were blowing up the ECW arena. Buy the tape. Okay. Thanks, Paul.
We gotta go.
We gotta go, right?
Yeah, I did not like that, and I did not like that for a lot of ECW stuff, but this one definitely affected me where I was like, come on, dude.
Chad, the thing that got me the most when I was younger, because like I said, I was 14 or 15 at the time, was the night Kimona Wanalea danced atop the ECW arena. And me being a young guy, I was like, did she get naked? I wonder if she got naked. Never bought the tape. Took me in my 30s to realize she never got naked.
No.
She was just in a towel dancing around. You know what I mean?
Dude, I could tell you, I could sit there and tell you how many people in the locker room sat there by that monitor and just watched the whole entire thing and just said, what's this?
What's this? Right.
Who is this broad? What's she doing here, and why is she not doing what she's supposed to do?
Right.
You know, that's yeah.
The truth of the matter was, she was doing what she was supposed to do. That was all she was hired for, was to be tits and ass. She didn't wrestle, right? She wasn't a wrestler from another company.
No, she wasn't a wrestler from any company.
Right. Right. That's what I'm saying.
She had to have been a stripper that fucking Raven found.
Had to be. She looked like one. So she got
WCW. She had to, yeah. Or if it wasn't Raven, it was somebody Paul found, at a club or whatever. That I do it all the time. And Archie, if you want to be a star in this business, you ought to start talking to people when you go to Golden Corral. You need to start.
I talk to people in Golden Corral all the time. I ask, "Where's the chocolate fountain? When are you bringing out more steaks? Is there any more?"
There you go. You need to start seeing some fit women and asking them, "Hey, have you ever thought of getting into the wrestling business?" That's my introduction line to every broad.
Or just walking up to broads and being like, "Show me your chocolate fountain." Like,
Aaron.
holy
Aaron, I've been in this business 30 years, and I've never done that, and
that's
I
what
don't
he
think
just
that's
said.
the way to go.
He said, "Show me your chocolate fountain." It's like,
It could work.
goodness.
It could work.
Yeah,
I
it
wanna be in
can,
the
but
wrestling business. Would you like to show me your chocolate fountain? No, I'm good, thank you.
but as soon as you sign that contract, you're going to be dealing with human resources.
If you want to see somebody's chocolate fountain, you don't go to Golden Corral, you go to Arby's.
Oh God, ew.
Oh, the
Ew.
meat flaps?
The meat flaps.
Oh, now you got the meat flaps.
Oh my God.
I'm saying every time I eat Arby's, like 20 minutes later, I'm blowing a fucking chocolate fountain.
Well,
Aaron, give me your grade on Hostile City Showdown '95.
C minus.
Chad?
I'll give it a B because it was a good effort. It was just poor execution.
I have to agree with Chad. I'll give it a B as well. Guerrero and Malenko being the only high spot in the whole show, but of course that's what it was supposed to be. And just poor execution when it came to finishing up the matches.
Yeah, the whole entire Shane stuff was just, you know, if you would have not given me the whole match at all, I would have been happy with just ending the show with Malenko Guerrero.
Well, yeah. I think they ended a couple episodes of ECW like that.
Hang on, Arch. But I mean, if just say you got rid of that main event and then you just ended the show with Malenko Guerrero, and then you just rang the bell and then the crowd just stood there. And if Malenko Guerrero would have just stood there for like 5 minutes in the ring, that crowd would have bought that.
Oh yeah.
You know, they would have just said they would have said this was fucking great. Because they would have been there. They would have stood there like wrestling was real, and they ran out of time, and they just didn't have enough time to do their match, and they just would have stood there with their hands on their hips and looking at each other, and that would have been the way to just end the show. Well, fucking just get the fuck out of there.
I do agree with you. I do, and like I said, I think a few ECW episodes ended with Malenko and Guerrero, their matches, because that's how good they were. They knew that was the perfect endpoint.
Dude, this is a true story. Back when they were wrestling each other, I used to have my own phone line at my house that I lived at, and I had a pro wrestling hotline where all it was an answer machine, Archie. It's literally it was like a set answer machine, and every day I'd look at Meltzer, and I'd post notes or whatever, and me and my buddy, remember the Malenko Guerrero Classic?
Yeah.
When they did the advertisement for it, when it was Perfect Strangers, and it was like, it was like 2 guys, 3 buildings, whatever. Well, me and a buddy of mine that I used to live with or live around, we did an Austin Howson Classic, which wasn't wrestling. We went to like 33 bars down in a tourist. It was like a tourist location down where we live, and we went to like 33 bars on our bikes. And when I got home, I changed my answer machine message and I put Perfect Strangers on there, and I was like, "It's the Austin Howson Classic." And I did the whole entire thing, and the guy was like, "Dude, that's the greatest thing in the world." It's like, it's after the Malenko Guerrero Classic, but it wasn't as good as them. They tore it up, man. I mean, what can you say? There wasn't a single person in the locker room that wasn't standing in line. You know,
right?
To shake their hands and go, "I don't know what the fuck he did out there." I feel like Mark Henry, because Mark Henry's like the worst wrestler in the world. But it'd be the first guy to stand backstage and shake your hand and tell you, you did a good job out there. And then be like, "Yeah, you know what? It's a good thing nobody ever said it to you."
All right, Chad, give us your closing words of the night.
I thought the show was good. I mean, it was good in the sense that it Aaron or Nate or whoever you are.
Yeah.
We always talk about how they're building the progression of the future, but we always stumble upon why aren't they there yet?
Right.
It's always why are they still building on this? Why haven't we stepped over this little stone to where we're there? And again, I think we're going somewhere, and it's just going to take Santino Morello. I mean, maybe to get us there.
Oh my God!
But you know what I mean, right, Aaron?
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to say about the even though Ian sucks, that's what the Axel Ian feud I think is gonna be. It's the jumping off point. It's where ECW started becoming violent and extreme and doing all their shit because they had to do something because they lost Sabu because Sabu was like not around because of the whatever, but
Japan.
Yeah, the Japan shit. So I think this show is the show that I think's popping it off.
Dude, the Sabu Japan shit could have been in a backhanded way, could have been the best thing that ever happened to him.
Yeah,
because the fans would have never known how depraved they would have been from Sabu if it wasn't for the fact that Sabu wasn't there.
Right.
And then when Paul made an announcement that Sabu had them motherfuckers are like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if Paul would have said, Chad Austin had another booking, it would have been fuck Chad. But you're telling me that Sabu's not going to be here tonight? You know what I mean? Like that's fucking. You're talking dangerous. That was gutsy from Paul to even say that.
Yeah, I just like you were saying, like, oh, when are we going to get there with the ECW? We're there. Like next couple of weeks, we're rolling into like the real ECW.
I agree.
What it was meant to be. What it was meant to be, exactly.
The writing's on the wall, man. You can see you can see the writing, and you can see the players, right?
Yep,
definitely.
You see who Paul's going to play with. Obviously it wasn't Stetson. Because he got beat earlier in the show, and
wasn't Tasubo. He wasn't around anymore out there.
Dude, I'm glad you knew his name because I don't fucking know what the fuck that guy's name was.
I didn't know what he was supposed to be.
Well, he was that stupid fucking Michinoku Pro guy.
I guess.
Yeah.
Never saw him again though after this.
Well, they'll all be on here for the next couple weeks, right?
I think so.
Yeah, we got all them fucking Michinoku Pro fucking idiots on here, and ECW was finding its way. It found the niche, and this is where they started fucking nailing it. I think.
All right, Aaron, give us your closing statement for the evening.
Just thank everybody for listening to all the shows on the WrestleNet radio, and I appreciate everybody that listens to Reliving the Extreme, and thank you, Archie, for pitching in for Nate this week.
Are you banged up?
Huh?
What's that?
Are you banged up?
Am I banged up? No, I'm not banged up.
Oh, it sounded like you were banged up when you were doing that pitch.
No.
Well, I'm banged up. I've been drinking since Thursday.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for joining us. Thank you to Chad Austin and to Nate.
Wait a minute, I never got to say my goodbyes.
I thought those were your goodbyes. I said, give me your all right, go ahead, Chad.
Yeah, but I got my own. I got my own website, my own whatever. I have my own GoFundMe.
Tell us where we got to go, brother. Go ahead.
Never mind.
Fuck off.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thank you, everybody. Thank you to Aaron and Chad for welcoming me. Get well soon, Nate. Make sure you check out all the shows here on WrestleNet Radio, including If You Smell What the Arch is Cooking and the Nothing But Trouble podcast.
Oh,
Cheap
good
plugs.
Lord.
Cheap plugs.
Showing the fucking arch. And
Ladies
Chad's
gentlemen,
Video
thank you.
Vault.
Chad's Video Vault. Make sure you check it out. Check out Aaron's show, the year that was, and the We Can't Wrestle podcast as well. Thank you all. Have a great night, and we will see you next week.
You're not going to see anybody.